Hey Tony, I just wanted to let you know that I'm just finishing up my appointment with the doctors now. They said there's nothing wrong with the baby, and that things are going smoothly.
Okay, and so what?
So what? What do you mean? That's it. It's just that our baby is growing up and nothing seems to be the matter. I just thought that you might be curious about what the doctor had to say about it, is all.
I don't need you to contact with every single little update, you know. Especially if nothing has actually changed. Don't you know that I'm working right now? You should know better than to interrupt me.
But I would have thought that you're in the middle of your lunch break, no? Don't forget that I used to work for that same company up until a few months ago. I know the schedule. The whole reason I messaged you right now is because I knew you would be on your lunch break.
Yes, I am free. But just because I am, doesn't mean you should come and bother me with stuff like this. Don't you know how much of a pain it is having to reply to every little thing you send me? I'm supposed to be on break, but how can I relax if you never leave me alone?
Tony, what has gotten into you? All I'm doing is telling you about how our child is developing. There's no need to act this way. I just thought that you might care about what's going on with our kid. I'm its mother and I certainly care. What about you? Do you really have no interest in any of what I'm telling you?
To be honest, I really don't. In fact, the only reason we're having this kid is because my parents wouldn't shut up about how badly they wanted a grandchild. So if you think that I'm going to be doing any of the child rearing, you can think again. You are going to be doing everything for that little brat, and I'm not going to lift a finger to help you.
Tony, you do realize that this child will be our child, right? Don't you think you're being just a little irresponsible talking like that about your own kid?
And just what is so irresponsible about that? I know that you'll be able to take care of the little brat, so I feel fine just leaving it all in your hands.
Tony, I'm going to need more than just money to raise this kid. I'm going to need you there with me.
Well, you know that I work. I won't have the time or energy to spend on a kid after I get home. You're a housewife now, so you can take care of it.
Can you please just quit it with all this housewife talk? I'm sick and tired of you condescending to me over it. After all, you were the one who asked that I quit my job in the first place, remember?
I only asked you to quit because I know that we needed someone to take care of the kids and do all the cleaning around the house.
And you really have no problem with me being the one that does all of that? I don't want to be housewife, you know. I want to go out and work. Even just a part-time job or something to get me out of the house and talking to people, anything.
No, no, no! You need to be staying at home so that you can focus on cleaning and taking care of the kid when it comes.
But why can't I work too? It's the norm for both parents to work these days, and I want to as well. Why are you so opposed to me finding some work for myself?
Because we get along just fine on my salary alone. If you started working, all that would mean is we have to pay more in taxes.
Well, I guess that's not true. But does the fact that I want to work really mean nothing to you at all?
You were the one that wanted a kid in the first place, right? Well, I gave you what you want. So I don't get what you're complaining about now. If you wanted to work, then you should have thought about that before you asked to have a kid.
And you really don't want anything to do with raising the child with me at all? If you really didn't want to have a kid so badly, then I wish that you would have said something before getting me pregnant. Because hearing you talk about this child the way you have been has not been giving me confidence for a future.
Hey, it's already noon. Why aren't you home yet? Don't tell me that you're still out shopping right now. How long are you going to keep me waiting, huh?
Tony, I'm really sorry. I can't move right now. I'm just taking a little break. But I think I'm having cramps.
What? Right now? Like, literally right this second?
I don't know. It's coming and going in waves. I think this might be it. I'm gonna try and go to the hospital. I think our baby is on its way.
Well, that's great and all, but did you finish the shopping at least?
You mean, did I buy the bag of potato chips that you wanted? Yes, I have them with me, here.
Perfect. You should have started with that. Okay then. Go ahead and drop those off here for me, and then when you can, go to the doctor's office or whatever.
You want me to go to the hospital all by myself in this state?
Yeah, I'm working at home today, so I can't just run out and play hooky with you.
Tony, you have to come with me. This is our child we're talking about. Besides, I need you to drive me to the hospital.
Did you not read my last message? I literally just told you that I'm working and don't have time to goof off with you.
Please, don't you think this is just a little more important than getting your work done?
I don't know. I mean, it's raining pretty hard outside, and I'd hate to have to drive in this weather.
Are you kidding me right now? You're the one that sent me out to the grocery store in the first place, despite the fact that I'm 9 months pregnant. You were the one who wouldn't stop complaining until I finally agreed to buy you your stupid potato chips.
Okay, I don't really remember using any kind of language like that with you, so why don't you show me that much respect at least? I only asked you to go to the store for me because you're always complaining about not getting out of the house enough.
Do you know that I can't even see my ankles if I look down at my feet? Are you really going to ask a woman who might be in labor to walk to the hospital in the rain? What if I slip?
You women are all the same. You get one little baby growing inside of you, and then you think it gives you the right to boss around the man of the house.
Tony, what are you even talking about? I have put up with a lot of crap from you, but I think I finally hit my limit.
Is that supposed to scare me or something?
I just wish that you seemed to care more about becoming a father. Your wife is literally going to give birth soon, and you can't even be bothered driving her to the hospital? If you're like this now, then how are you going to be for the rest of her child's life?
I already told you the whole reason I even agreed to having a kid in the first place was because you and my parents wouldn't shut up about it.
You need to stop blaming the people around you for your problems. At the end of the day, you went along and got me pregnant. Knowing what that meant, we both need to take responsibility as this child's parents. Do you understand? Not your parents, not me alone, us.
Could you just leave me alone already? You were the one that wanted a kid, so you can deal with it.
I really can't believe this. It's like talking to a literal child. It's clear to me you're not ready to even be married, let alone a father.
And what is that supposed to mean? Just whose kid is this anyways, huh?
You know that it's your kid. That's why I'm telling you that you need to step up and care a bit more about what's happening right now. You need to take responsibility for this life that we're about to bring into the world.
Don't be such a drama queen, Danielle. You keep trying to speak as if I'm not doing any of this for the family, when I'm the only one of us out here working.
And that's all well and good, but doesn't excuse you from your other duties as a father. Maybe I'll just have to have a little chat with your mom about how you've been acting towards me over this. I'm sure she would love to know just how excited you are to take care of her grandchild, right?
You better not go and tell them anything about what I've said. I know that you'll just twist what I say around and confuse them.
Oh, really? I was just going to tell them what you told me. That the rain made you not feel like driving me to the hospital while I was labor in the supermarket. I don't think there's much to misinterpret there, don't you?
Okay, fine. I'll take you to the stupid hospital so you can do this stupid thing. Just quit bugging me about it, alright?
I really can't believe you. You really are just the worst. Do you know that, Tony? How could you just leave your pregnant wife on the side of the road? It's a crime what you've done to me.
What other choice did I have? I got a call from my office saying they needed me to come in. I had to kick you out and turn around and get to work.
I don't see why you couldn't have just dropped me off at the hospital first. Why would you think it's a good idea to just kick me out in the middle of the road while it's pouring with rain? I had to walk the rest of the way and got completely soaked.
But you had the kid and everything is fine, right? I knew you were being overdramatic about how hard being pregnant was. You clearly had enough strength and energy to get yourself to the hospital all by yourself. There was no need to start that fight with me like you did in the first place.
Do you have any idea of the state I was in by the time I reached the hospital? But thankfully, there was someone nice enough to pick up towards the very end and deliver me there on the last mile or so. And after a few hours of being labor, I did finally give birth, thank you very much. You're just lucky that I didn't end up having our baby on the side of the road like some kind of animal.
You could have just called an ambulance to pick you up, you know. Or did you really forget that those existed? Maybe all that blood that should have been in your brain is going to the baby instead.
My phone didn't have any battery left. Besides, the road was so wet and slippery, and I was shivering so much. I really could have fallen and really hurt the baby.
You are always making such a big deal out of nothing. Do you enjoy living your life like that?
It's not me saying that. It's the doctor. All I was trying to do was protect that baby from any harm.
You really are so annoying. Anyways, I already explained to you that I did what I did because of work, so it's just that simple. Or do you want me to lose my job? Is that how you want to live? With no money at all?
Hello. I'm very sorry to be interrupting this conversation between you and your wife. But I'm the person who found Danielle on the side of the road and took her to the hospital. I just happened to be passing by and saw her walking when I offered her a ride.
I see. Well, thank you very much for doing that for my wife. But I don't quite understand what it is you think you're doing cutting into this private conversation. If you want some kind of reward for what you did, we can talk about that later.
No, that's not what I'd like to talk about. I'm just curious if you realize exactly what it is that you've done. For instance, did you know that by the time I picked up your wife that her water had broke?
Okay, and? I already knew she was going to give birth soon. That was always going to happen. Are you mad because it happened in your car or something? I could pay to have it cleaned if that's the issue. Just give my wife the bill and I'll deal with it when she comes home.
That's also not what I'm asking you about. What I want to know is if it's really true that the reason you kicked your wife out of the case was because you were called into work.
Yeah, that's what happened. Why do you care about any of that? I don't see how any of it is your business, really. I'm sorry, who are you again? Can you please give my phone back to my wife and go away?
I can do that in just a little bit. But first, I just wanted to give you one last chance to admit it. There was no call for you to return to the office, was there? But now there is. You should go to your office building and ask to speak with the company president. I think he'll be expecting you.
You want me to go and talk to the president of my company? I don't get it. What is this all about? Just tell me who you are.
Oh, right. I suppose I haven't said my name yet. I'm Penelope Freeman. Does that ring a bell?
Wait, Freeman? That's the same name as my company's president.
That's right. I'm assuming you're starting to put together a little better now, yes? I'm the president of the company where you work, and I know your wife quite well. I even sent you a letter congratulating you two when you get married.
Are you really Penelope Freeman?
Why would I be lying to you about something like this? The only person who's been telling lies this whole time is you, isn't it?
Wait a second, this is ridiculous. Why is the president of my company taking my wife to the hospital?
You really are a slow one, aren't you?
Right. Well, I'm truly terribly sorry about this, and I sincerely hope that my wife didn't make too much of a mess in your car. I promise to repay any damages she might have caused after you picked her up.
That is the least of my worries right now. What I am really just shocked at is the fact that my company hired someone like you to begin with. In fact, I called your manager and asked just who it was that called you into the office, and she told me that you were scheduled to work from home all day. Care to explain yourself?
Right, well, I lied. There was no one that called me into the office.
I see. So then why did you tell your wife that and then kicked her out? Was it supposed to be some kind of way of getting back at her for asking you to do more?
I guess I just wanted to let her know how frustrated I was getting with her. But it was the wrong thing to do and I shouldn't have done it.
Except that this isn't some little schoolyard incident where you can just write it off like that. You could have really hurt your wife and child. You realize that, don't you?
Was my wife really even in that much danger walking down the side of the road?
She was. Didn't she tell you that the doctor already told her that she was?
Well, I'm truly sorry about that. I really had no idea that was the case. I thought that she would have just thought to get an Uber or something like that. Or I thought that someone might come along and pick her up, and at least I was right about that.
You saw how hard it was raining outside. There was practically no visibility. Other cars on the road might not have been able to see Danielle until it was too late. It was just lucky that I happened to see her when I did and was able to stop in time. By the time I picked her up, however, she had already been on the road an hour.
She was still on the road after an hour? I really had no idea about any of that. I thought that she would just have been walking for a little bit. I never meant to make her walk so far on her own like that.
It doesn't matter how long she was on the road by herself. Even 1 second was too much, you horrible man. You should consider yourself lucky that both your wife and child are okay. Anyways, I'm about to head back to the office, and I think it would be best if you did too. See you there.
Miss Freeman, are you there? I really just wanted to say how terribly sorry I am for the other day.
And just what are you referring to exactly?
I'm sorry for the trouble that I might have caused you yesterday. I acted out of order, and I shouldn't have done that at all.
I'm just curious if you realize just how much all of this is your fault. I take it that by now you're already aware that your wife has banned you from visiting her at the hospital, yes?
I did know about that, but how did you hear about that?
Well, I was with your wife in the hospital after I dropped her off. And she told me that she was going to ask the doctors not to let you in.
Oh, I see. Well, please allow me to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to help my wife get to the hospital. I've done a lot of thinking since last night and swear to never put her through something like that again.
I don't really think you need to worry about that happening. From what I understand, your wife is going to divorce you.
Wait, what? But my wife just had our kid. She can't just leave me. Besides, she doesn't even have a job.
You don't need to worry about that either. When we were talking yesterday, I offered her a position at our company. After all, she was a wonderful employee, and there's no reason why we shouldn't want her back.
But there's no way that she's going to be able to take care of that baby all by herself.
Well, she'll be able to, since I'm paying her enough to cover any expenses she might have. In fact, I was thinking that your position would be much better suited if your wife was working in it, don't you think?
You want to give Danielle my job? But then what am I supposed to do?
We'll transfer you to one of our branch offices, of course.
But why? I don't want to have to move my life into the middle of nowhere.
I've already heard all about you from your colleagues. They tell me that you're difficult to work with and that you're always dumping all of your own work on your subordinates. You're single-handedly bringing down the morale and productivity of your entire department.
I promise I'm not doing that at all. Everyone else is just lying to you about me.
I seriously doubt that. I talked to everyone one-on-one and all the stories they had about you matched up. And I have no other option but come to the conclusion that you are not good for business. So that's why it's best to send you far away from HQ.
But I worked so hard to get where I am today. That isn't fair. You can't just cast me out like this.
That is true, but your wife seems like an even better, harder working employee who will make up for your absence and then some. And if I can make a personal comment, I just simply don't like you and don't think you should be around Danielle when she comes back.
Wait, Mrs. Freeman, please, you have to rethink this.
Hello, Tony. It's Danny. Penelope has already gone home. I guess it sounds like I'm getting your job.
How could you do this to me? You've taken everything that I've worked so hard to achieve!
Well, it sounds to me like the company president has decided that you're not fit for the position anymore.
Well, that's just because you've ruined my reputation in her eyes. You're a horrible, evil woman! And you're trying to steal everything that I have!
This really is all just because you can't learn to get over yourself. You're not the main character of life, Tony. You need to learn to make compromises.
Well, what kind of compromise are you making where you're just trying to steal my job?
I didn't steal your job. I was given it by your boss. Don't forget that. And I was given it because you proved yourself incapable to handle the job professionally.
You won't be able to handle what I do, though. You think you can work and raise a child? That's never been heard of before. It's impossible.
Do you live under a rock or something? What decade do you think it is? That's even remotely close to being a true statement. You do know that Penelope is also a single mother, don't you?
Wait, what? She is? Well, then she probably just got her job because she had everything handed to her on a silver platter. Everyone gives single moms whatever they want. They have it so easy. You have no idea what it's like to be a man.
If you really think all of that is true, then I really just don't feel anything but pity for you. You should consider yourself lucky that nothing happened to me or the baby. Or else you would get something much worse than a transfer to another branch. Now have a nice life, Tony! After that, it didn't take long for the divorce process to be finalized between Tony and I. Then, he was served with his now job posting out in the countryside in one of our smallest branches. With Tony gone, however, everyone at HQ's mood improved drastically, as did productivity. A few months later, my term of maternal leave has ended, and I returned to work at the company I quit working for to have my child in the first place. And yes, it is very difficult raising a child while working full-time. But I do get all the support one could ask from their job. And between bonding with Penelope and having her by my side at work, and looking forward every day to seeing the beautiful face of my little boy, I can honestly say that I've never been happier.